guys, welcome back. So in this video I will talk about wrapper classes in Java, right? We will try to understand why we have wrapper classes in Java though we have primitive data type, right? So mainly the wrapper class in Java came into the picture that, let's say, when you want to convert your primitive data type into object, that can be done by the wrapper class. And wrapper class basically available in uh, java lang package, java util package. Okay, so this guy will actually help you to convert your primitive data type into object, right? So now one thing we need to understand here, when we say wrapper class, right? So the moment you say class, which means class will have a method, class will have the instance of object, right? The moment you say any class, right, it has a method, it has a variables, and it has an instance of object. So you will have three things, right? So when I'm saying that wrapper class, which means every primitive data type has corresponding wrapper class, so that you can convert primitive data type into object, right? So you'll be wondering, like, why do you need to convert primitive data type into the object? That we will see that going forward, but for you I'll give you a small example here. Maybe you might not be correlate because the topic which we have later point of time, mainly when you work with collection framework in Java, right? The collection framework, the structure of class in collection from framework is designed in such a way that all the class will store only object. It will not store your primitive data type. So whenever you are working with collection framework class, right, you need to store the object. You cannot store the primitive data type. That is the first thing. The second thing, when you work on any project, you can have multiple requirements, you can have multiple data conversion, right? The multiple data conversion, how do you do that, right? There should be some way through which you can convert one data type to other data type, right? And vice versa. That is done by the wrapper class, because the moment you say wrapper class, which means the classes has the facility through which you can convert one data type to other data type. That also will help you. Okay, so we will see that one by one. For now we will try to understand. So here if you look at the diagram here, the primitive data type is nothing but you have integer, and the corresponding wrapper class you have capital integer. Okay, focus here. Here primitive data type you have int, whereas this wrapper class you have integer. Now double is the primitive data type, corresponding wrapper class is capital double. Float is the primitive data type, corresponding wrapper class is capital float. Boolean, corresponding wrapper class is the boolean. Char, character. Long, right? Byte, byte. Even for short you have a short. Now you might be wondering why I have not mentioned a string here, because in Java a string is not a primitive data type. A string is always class. Okay, so you don't need to have the wrapper class for the string because it's always a class. So it always has the method, has the instance of object, has the variable. So for a string you don't have any primitive data type. It's always a class. Now in next video we will try to understand why these wrapper classes came to the picture and how these wrapper classes will help us. Okay, for now you just try to understand wrapper classes will help us to wrap the primitive data type into object, or to convert the primitive data type into the object, and vice versa, to get the primitive data type from the object, right? To get the primitive data type from the object, or to convert the primitive data type into a object, for which we need a wrapper class, right? Thank you guys, thank you for watching this.